So good morning. My name is Paula Almiron. I'm the Partnership and Funding Manager at EIT Food NorthWest. We welcome you to this onboarding webinar. I'm part of a team that is responsible for the success of our partners and their projects in the EIT Food community. We are happy to have today partners from all the European regions and some rising food stores. Today, we'll be covering 6 different areas. First, we will start with a guide to EIT Food. Then we will go through the steps that you have to fulfill to become a partner, and which are different membership categories that we currently have and that we will have in the future. Aimee is going to introduce you to the EIT platforms, and then we will go through the grant cycle, some legal documents, and the cost eligibility. Feel free to ask any questions as we go along. You can drop your questions in the chat. Aimee, I see some comments on the chat. Could you please let me know?
Yeah, it was just Robin asking, are we recording?
Okay, perfect. Okay. So let's move on to a brief introduction to EIT Food. EIT Food is the largest and most dynamic innovation community. We focus on innovation to build a food system that produces healthy and sustainable food for all. We are supported by EIT, which stands for the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. They are an agency of the European Union. We concentrate on 3 main areas. We invest in projects, organizations, and entrepreneurs that share our goals. We unlock innovation potential in businesses and universities. We help agri-food startups to bring new technologies and products to markets. And most importantly, we put consumers at the heart of our work. As you can see in the slide, we work in 5 different regional offices. Each of these regional offices operates with certain countries. We are part of the NorthWest region, and we work for Iceland, Ireland, and the UK. Okay. We are part of a wider network, so we depend on EIT. We have already mentioned that. And EIT has different branches. We have EIT Digital, EIT Climate, EIT Manufacturing. And we have recently a new addition to the family, that is EIT Creativity. If we go back to EIT Food, we transform the food systems in 6 ways, 6 specific ways. So we have the following objectives: to overcome low consumer trust by creating a smart food system that is inclusive and reassuring for everyone; to build a consumer-centric connected food system; to educate, innovate, and advance; to create consumer-valued food for healthier nutrition by enabling individuals to make informed and affordable personal nutrition choices; to enhance sustainability through resource protection; and to catalyze food entrepreneurship and innovation. Now let's look at our main activities. We work in 4 major areas: education, innovation, entrepreneurship, and public engagement. In the education area, we have courses that go from general courses for public that is not expert in the topic to doctorate studies. In the innovation area, we have calls that run every year and that respond to our strategic objectives. Then we have the entrepreneurship area, and there we have 3 different programs to start your company. from seedbed to the Rising Food Stars and the Food Accelerator Network in between. And finally, we have the public engagement area. Who joins the EIT Food community? We have different profiles: partners, entrepreneurs, the public, change makers, curious minds. Partners include agri-food businesses, agri-tech, startups, universities, research organizations. Through us, they can gain access and influence in Europe's agri-food community. Entrepreneurs launch, accelerate, and scale their agri-food businesses with us. We help them through mentoring and funding. And of course, we have networking events that they value. We have the general public who engages in our events, platforms, and activities and co-creation workshops. We support change makers. We take their ideas from concept to market. And we also have some curious minds that enjoy our online courses, education programs, and professional development opportunities. At this point, if you have any question, I'm happy to answer. Aimee, do we have any questions?
No, nothing yet.
Okay, perfect. So do we have to admit? Okay, so we have to admit 2 other people. Let's move on. Okay. So now let's turn to how to become an EIT Food partner. So we're going to cover different topics here. You can see them on the slide. Let's move forward. So what is the process of becoming a partner? So it has different steps. So you can choose 2 different paths. One is an independent application, and the other one is through an open call, for example, the innovation open call. When you apply, these documents go to the regional office, they are endorsed, and then it depends if you are a network or associate partner, or you are a core partner. So we are going to have 2 different situations. So if you're a network partner or an associate member, you will go to the management board, and that could end there, plus some admin that you will have to submit, some admin paperwork that you will have to submit. If you are applying as a core partner, you will have to go to the supervisory board after you have passed the management board, and of course, you will have to do some admin onboarding too. Okay. Currently, we have a partnership model at the present that will change in 2023. So this is, we are introducing now the partnership model that we currently have, but we know that we are going to change this in the short term in 2023. So in the current partnership model, you can have different membership types. I mean, it depends on the level of engagement that you have with the network. Core partners can be gold, silver, or SME. They shape the EIT Food strategy, and they vote in the partner assembly. Depending on the type of membership, they have different number of votes. They can have affiliated entities in their partnership. We are going to explain that in a moment. They can lead and participate in projects, receiving EIT food funding, and of course, they can participate in events. Network partners can participate in projects, but not as lead partners, and they can receive EIT food funding. They, of course, can participate in events. They don't have voting rights. And finally, associate members are like-minded institutions that can take part of EIT food projects with their own funding. If we go to affiliated entities, we can say that core partners can have them. We have already mentioned that they don't represent any added cost for our partners, and they have to have a legal link with the core partner. So it's better with an example. So suppose that you have a core partner that is located in Ireland, and this partner has a branch in Poland. Well, that partner could, I mean, if it is scored gold, silver, or SME, could ask EIT Food to add an affiliated entity in Poland or any other European country or associated to Horizon Europe. Okay, so my next point is the new partnership model. Okay, so the new partnership model has some drivers for change. I would like to point out some of them. So right now in the partnership model that we are focused on the EIT grant, and we're moving forward to a new model that is focused on impact. At the present time, the value to partners is centralized or concentrated in the grant, in a grant that comes from EIT. But we're moving forward to a different scenario in which we are going to use different funders outside of EIT, outside of EIT Food. Currently, the partnership model is focused on delivering point solutions, specific solutions. And we're moving to another arena that is about systemic solutions, emissions approach, moving from a short-term horizon to a long-term success that can address the systemic problems that we have. So the value summary that you can see here on the slide is based on 3 different points: network value, strategic engagement, and the project and funding opportunities that the different type of memberships will have. So the new partnership structure that is being built has been structured in three main variables: the partner categories, the services that they will receive, and the partner size. So let's move to that. Just before we go to the next slide, just pay attention to the three names: strategic, delivery, and community. These are the 3 categories, and then they are going to have be split it by the partner size. I'm going to show you in a couple of slides that structure. So now what about the services that these 3 partners categories involve? So the strategic partners will develop the strategy, promote that strategy through key platforms, and curate the network. They will build a pipeline build a funding pipeline and create opportunities. The delivery partners will make that strategy concrete. They will deliver that strategy. They will do projects. They will do some activities in our network. They will be active in the network, but very delivery focus on the activities, not in the strategy. And they will be involved in bids and consortia. The community partners will address the strategy, but they will not inform or develop the strategy. They will have an access to the network, and they will be open for opportunities, more like-minded organizations. These 3 different partnership categories will have different type of support, partner support, and also operational support. And of course, there will be some additional services that will be available. So as you can see here, we have a draft of the partnership fees. So you have in the columns the variable of the size variable that I was mentioning. So you have large, medium, and SME, and then you have the partner categories. So these are the fees that we are discussing right now. So we have to say that we are also addressing the broad range of education institutions to ensure that the partnership works for all. At a high level, as you can see on the slide, the pricing is set for large partners and then factored down for medium and small organizations. More details will be shared in the future, in the next weeks, in the next months, as these will be effective in 2023, perhaps with some minor changes. However, if you are a current partner, you will have a conversation with your regional office to discuss your transition to the new model. And if you are a prospective partner, you will join now with this model, and you will get 15 months of membership instead of 12. At this point,
so I'm just going to discuss through each of the 4 of these individually. So the main thing we have is our EIT Food website, which I'm sure everyone has came across. So this is our main channel to inform external stakeholders about who we are and what we do. And as you can see, our URL is available on the slide. So within this is an outdated version. So the EIT Food website is more updated now, but it's the same kind of principles and the same things that are available. So within the food website, we have what we do, so such as our functional areas and regional innovation schemes and our cross-kick projects. We have all our projects, which include our current and previous projects across our functional areas. Then we have ways in which you can get involved and what's happening in your country. We also have a section about EIT Food, which includes our mission and our vision, as well as our latest annual report and strategic agenda. And then additionally, we have our news and blogs, procurement and information on our partners and rising food stars. So partner contribution to the EIT Food website. Each partner has a profile page on our website. So we would ask that your profile is kept up to date with your competencies, capabilities, and your contact details. And each project is featured on our website. So project leads should ensure that their project page is informative, accurate, and up to date. Moving on then, on our website, we also have a EIT Food Entrepreneurship Platform. So this is just an agri-food network, which includes ways in which that we can connect with world-leading industry investors, research organizations, and startups, which are all involved in transforming our global food system. And then we just have the website link, or the platform link, sorry. Our next platform is a food hive. So this is a private platform for all of our community. And within our food hives, so this is kind of like a social platform. So everybody has like their own private account. And then you can post your thoughts on any plans or just social things. So it is a platform that brings together the EIT food community, as I've said. The platform provides easy access to news and updates on the EIT food community activities and events, as well as promoting discussion and dialogue between our members of our community and all things based on agri-food. So within this slide here, there's a brief YouTube tutorial that talks you through Food Hive. So you can click this within your own time and it'll give you a bit more information. And then there's also a few private links that give more information on Food Hive, so what it is and how you use it, and how do you join one, and how do you submit a news article. And then as well, if you need any help, you can contact the Food Hive community manager at this web address. Within Food Hive as well, we also have EIT Food for Thought. So this is a new knowledge sharing space where you can discover and discuss innovation. So you access this through Food Hive, and as you can see, this is just a wee screenshot. So you go through and you can see the Food for Thought. So this is where we share ideas and drive innovation within the community. The third platform we have is EIT Food Plaza. So this is a private platform for partners. So within this, as you can see, you have our accounts, and then you have your call for proposals, your current activities, partners, and reporting. So within EIT Food Plaza, you upload your master contact. So this is the main contact which EIT Food will contact. We also have a finance and reporting officer, so we can have between 1 or 2 of these. And this is who we contact to discuss things such as reporting and budgets. And then finally, we have activity leaders. So for each project, there is one activity leader, and they submit different documents and reports based on the project, and they communicate with program managers and discuss issues, etc. And then in addition to this, we also have task leaders and contributors. And then if you need any help, you can contact the office at eitfood.eu. And if you need to change any contacts as well, you can also contact the partnership managers. The last thing we have then is our EIT Food Hype. So this is a relatively new platform. So here you can see there's just a wee screenshot of the platform itself and any help you need. So there's an open call for innovation, and etc. So obviously the 3 main platforms are Food Hype, and Food Plaza. So I'm just going to briefly discuss the differences. So EIT Food Hype is our community platform. It's the best way to connect and communicate. It has real-time updates and interactives, and it replaces our partner newsletter. And this also supports 2-way communications. Food Hype is a collaboration and ideation tool. It helps with consortium building and the creation of new project ideas, and you can find interesting projects on this. And EIT Food Plaza is our more partnership-based platform. So we have all stages of the grant cycle are here. We have partnership management and the management of approved projects, as well as reporting. Yeah, and that's all the platforms.
Thank you very much, Aimee. Do you have any questions, any comments on these platforms? No? Okay, so just to add on what Aimee has shared, just keep in mind that on Plaza, you also have the communication assets and the branding guidelines. So that's very important that you follow those guidelines. And if you have any questions, you can contact your communications officer in your region, or you can contact the partnership manager. Okay, so I'm going to start again sharing my screen. Okay. Oh. So, Aimee, could you please confirm that you can see my slides, not my notes?
Yeah, just the slides.
Perfect. Okay, so my next point now is the EIT Food grant cycle. We are going to see different we are going to see here different topics, contact points, monitoring, advice, and some other pieces that are part of our grant cycle. Okay, so let's begin by highlighting which are the contact points. So you have an activity leader in all of the activities that are approved by EIT Food and that are part of our business plan. The activity leader, or AL, is EIT Food's main contact and the bridge between the consortium and EIT Food. They represent the consortium. Then we have the program manager. This profile is the contact point for activity leaders, is the one that is going to monitor the project, is the one that is going to have conversations about different obstacles that you could have in the implementation of your project, etc. And then you have partnership and funding manager, or partnership and support managers. It depends on the region, and they are the key points for anything related with partnership, the grant cycle, but any doubts that you may have related to EIT Food. That's my current role. If we go to monitoring, monitoring is the opportunity to discuss any needed adjustments to your activity regarding budget, work program, changes in KPIs. Normally, if you would like to change your KPIs, that is not generally accepted. However, you can discuss that with your program manager. So in this monitoring process, the program manager will meet with the activity leader. Nowadays we e-meet, but the main point here is to understand the progress of the project, if the consortium is achieving the business plan targets or not, if they need any help, any changes, etc. The program manager is also going to monitor the reports, the interim reports and other reports that you may submit on Plaza. Another concept that is important in the grant cycle is the EIT Food Business Plan. This is a plot for action and impact. It gives us a strategic outlook of the whole plan and the targets for a certain year. And it gives also a detailed description of the projects. We can see their KPI targets, their budget, etc. These projects that are part of our business plan can be amended once a year. The amendment is an opportunity to formalize any changes that had been agreed with your program manager. Any changes in the project work plan, deliverables, budget, calendar. This amendment is implemented on Plaza, and when it's launched, you will be informed and you will receive some guidelines and perhaps a webinar. If we move now to the reporting, we have two main parts in the reporting that you may submit for each of your projects. So we have the performance reporting and we have the cost reporting. The performance reporting is the responsibility of the activity leader and consists of an activity performance reports, a report on the KPI, achievements, some deliverables and supporting evidence, and an explanation of any budget deviations that you may have. The cost reporting is the report, obviously, of the cost of each partner. It's not the report of the cost of an activity, but of each partner separately. And they report their involvement in certain business plan. For example, business plan for the year 2021. Only eligible costs can be reported. We will give you some details on this. And there is some budget flexibility that you can make effective in the amendment process that I have mentioned before. Okay, so if we go to the payments as it is related with this topic, normally you will receive a pre-financing payment and then you will receive a balancing payment, and that is being discussed right now because we had a previous model and we are transitioning to a new one. If you would like to receive more details on this, we can discuss later on, or you can send me an email and I will be happy to help. So as we were mentioning before, the costs are reported by each of the partners that are part of our community, and the eligibility of the costs apply to all the costs. It doesn't matter if if the source of funding is EIT or if it is co-funding. We encourage partners to report all costs that have incurred, even if they exceed the budget figures. Okay, so let's move to the next point. We have three main type of agreements in our community. We have the partnership agreement, the model grant agreement, and the consortia agreement. The partnership agreement is signed between EIT and EIT Food and establishes general terms and conditions under which EIT Food must operate. And inside of this, we have the internal agreement, which is signed by EIT Food and the partners transferring the partnership agreement obligations. The model grant agreement is signed between EIT and EIT Food and covers a specific business plan period. It has two other documents, the project agreement and the agreement on financial return mechanism. Some of these documents, for example, the agreement on financial return mechanism may not apply, for example, for the co-designed, the missions co-designed call. But generally speaking, we need this document. Then we have the consortium agreement, and is signed among consortium partners for the duration of the project implementation. If you would like, we can give you more details on this. So the internal agreement is signed for the same duration that the partnership agreement is signed. It is, of course, based on the partnership agreement requirement and includes terms on the partnership agreement, but also liability, key governance principles, financial sustainability, etc. The project grant agreement is signed also for the estimated duration of the project. It sets out the main metrics of the project, the budget, the deliverables, the KPI commitments, etc. The agreement about the financial return mechanism is, we have a standard mechanism, and then there is another mechanism that can be proposed by the consortium. Again, any details on this we can discuss later on, or if you have a specific question, we can send these questions internally, because this might change between calls and in calls and programs. Consortium agreement. So we mentioned that it's signed by consortia members, and this defines the responsibilities of the parties involved. For example, who is designated as the exploiting partner. Also, it mentions liabilities, the management of data, confidentiality, and any other businesses that you may consider important. At this point, if you have any questions, so Aimee, you can tell me if we have any questions in the chat, please.
Yeah, there's a few.
Okay.
Anna has asked, yes, please, more details for the new one, and then can we still join on existing? So it was from a previous slides ago.
Okay, so so let's start with that one. From now on, we will be moving to the next model. So if you join now, you will have to select one of these new membership categories. Okay, I think
and then
we have more questions.
Yeah, do you have to be an EIT Food partner in order to receive funding for the current EIT Food open call?
Okay, so thank you. So Aimee just explained which are the different parts that you have here, and I think it's quite clear. But as a general recommendation, you have to browse the whole website, because it has a lot of information and it's very useful if you are a partner, and especially if you are a partner that has an approved project in the business plan. So you have here all the guidelines for the calls. We are going to have the call for proposals 2023. That's the open call that is going to open in the next weeks. You can see also the current activities. You can edit your activities at certain points. And also you have my to-do list. So this is something that you can browse. A reporting section, important documents. Here you have all the legal documents that you can browse. If you have a doubt, you can go there. And these are, this is content that is very useful, but sometimes is difficult to digest. So if you have a question, just contact your partnership manager, your partnership and support manager, because we are there to help. I'm going to go to the last 2 points in a minute. So, so here you can see your account, your data. In this part, partners, you can find the profile of each of the members of our organizations. We are asking at the moment to add the associate members from the old partnership model. So perhaps if you are an associate member, you may not see yourself there, but we are working on that. You have here the partner mapping. This is a piece that we developed with a colleague, and it just tells you which are the challenges and which are the areas of expertise of the different partners. And this is especially helpful if you're looking for partners to build your consortium. As you may see, if you have some points in common, it's an Excel is, you know, a little bit unfriendly, but I mean, like not user friendly, but still is very useful. It's like old school. And then we have the partner activity list. If you are a partner here, you may see all the budget that is allocated on your organization. You can filter this by year. So you can see 2021, 2022, etc. On this part, we have external organizations, and here you have the opportunity to register a new organization. For example, if you are presenting a proposal and you have an organization, I mean, you would like to work in your team with another organization that is not part of our community. Okay, and here in communication, you have a really good content that you have to browse, because there is a lot of guidelines and things that you have to consider. If you have questions, please contact the communication department, and also take a look at this content, because it's important. So that's general advice. So there you can also change your data and modify some other topics. Okay, so I think that we have a question in the chat. Okay, good. Other than receiving funding for projects, what are the benefits of membership? Okay, great. So I would say that the main benefit is the network, and then it depends on your membership level, the impact that you can have pan-Europeanly. You're going to have an impact on the food systems design, and that's a main thing. So that's very important. Of course, that you're going to be connected with cutting-edge innovators. We had great startups in our business creation area, and we are, developing the food system of the future. So that's something that we have and others don't have. Okay, did I answer your question, Philip? Okay, so now we will go back to like the main, yes, thank you. Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again, okay? And we're going to start with a part that is cost eligibility. Okay. Good. Aimee, could you please confirm that we see my slides, but we don't see the notes?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Okay. So, okay. Here we have different topics to cover. I'm going to go through them. If you have questions, you can drop them in the chat. And some of these topics are going to be a little bit heavy, but okay, we're going to try to make it as light as we can.
Just before you start, Paula, we have one more question. So how can you create an account? Do you have to become a member to create an account?
On Plaza?
I think so.
Okay, good. So currently you don't need to be a member because you can register as an external organization. However, if you're not a member and you would like to become, you would like to have an account on Plaza, please drop me an email and I will try to help you a lot. Okay. Any other questions, Aimee? Sorry.
Do you offer introductions to large agricultural companies or stakeholders?
Okay, that's a really good question. So it's very important for us, networking. So in any business is important. But as we work systemically, we work in a system, in a systemic way, it is very important to be connected with organizations that are from different sectors and also different sizes. So in our networking events and also networking activities that we have, we offer that those capabilities. And of course, in some areas like business creation, besides the monitoring, the mentoring, the funding, you will also have networking opportunities to connect with larger companies. Aimee, more questions?
No, not yet.
Okay, good. Okay, so so the regulatory framework. So we have like 3 points. We have mentioned a little bit this earlier. So we have the grant agreement, we have the annotated model grant agreement. You will have the link there, and we have reporting guides. So the reporting guides, sometimes they vary slightly. So you have to see which is the most updated reporting guide. Good. Okay. So to start, we have to say that the maximum retroactivity for your costs is 4 months prior to the date of notification to the EIT. So suppose that you're not a member and you have a project that has been approved. So 4 months prior to the date that you are approved as a member, you can claim costs, but not, but that's the limit. Okay, so there are some specific documents on this. The accession form is going to show that retroactivity, but you have to keep that in mind. So it's very important if you're going to apply to become a member and you have an approved project, or you think that you're submitting a proposal, to make sure that your application is on time and that you provide all the documentation ASAP. You will receive a link to provide those documents by operations, and if you have any questions, you have operations, but especially your first person to talk about these things is your partnership manager. So which are the general eligibility conditions? They have to be incurred by the beneficiary. So if you are a partner, you have to have made those costs, and they have to happen in a specific period, the period of the action of the activity. They have to be estimated in the budget, and they have to be connected with the activity that you're performing. These costs have to be recorded in accordance to the applicable laws in your country and the usual practices that you have at your organization. Okay, of course, we have to comply with national laws on labor, taxes, social security. Everything has to be aligned with the law. Okay. Another point that we have to mention is that I really like this phrase. It has to show a principle of sound financial management. So it has to, be aligned with economy and efficiency. It has to be reasonable, be justified. Good. What are ineligible costs? For example, costs related to return on capital and dividends, debt, currency exchanges losses. So that's very important if you don't run your business in euros, excessive expenditure, deductible VAT or VAT. Okay, you can see more points there. Personnel costs. This is a difficult one, but we are going to try to introduce just like the basics. So the personnel costs have to fulfill the general eligibility conditions. And when we talk about personnel costs, we are talking about people who are working for the partner under an employment contract. So we call them employees. Employees have a contract and they have a direct contract with our partner. The person has to work under conditions similar to an employee if it is not an employee, if it is a natural person. And the work that a natural person, for example, develops has to belong to the partner. Okay. We have also seconded persons, and then we have SME owners that they not receive a salary, and they have a specific arrangements, and that has to be translated to unit rates. When we say seconded, we mean the temporary transfer of personnel from the temporary transfer of the personnel. Okay. The seconded person is still paid and employed, but works for the beneficiary. So it's a specific situation. We can go later on to this. Good. So as you can see here, personnel costs have changed from Horizon 2020 to Horizon Europe. So as you may see here, you have to translate the costs to daily rates. Okay, good. This is something that normally our partners have some issues with, because sometimes the way that they track the personnel cost is different. Okay, good. The only thing that is important here, I mean, many points, but one thing is that you have to record the days worked, and you have to use a reliable time record and sign a monthly declaration. So this is important. You have to keep track of that. So as we were mentioning before, so we have some typical mistakes. For example, missing supporting documentation, charges that cannot be tracked, so also timesheets that are not signed, etc. So one of the key points here is to keep track of everything. Okay. When we were talking about value for money, this is a key point for EIT, for big EIT. Of course, that is a big point for EIT Food too. So this is applicable to all categories, and we have to follow, I mean, each partner has to follow their own procurement policy. Okay, good. Subcontracting. if you're going to have subcontractors, the main advice here is that they have to be in the business plan, in the plan. In exceptional cases, you could add some subcontractors to your activity, but this will have to be discussed and approved and later approved. Okay, good. Partners in the same business plan cannot be part of cannot be subcontractors. Okay, till now, do we have any questions, Aimee? Because I think it's a little bit heavy, this part.
No, there's nothing in the chat.
There's nothing. Okay, so again, we continue with the best. What is a best practice here? The first thing is efficiency, and try to justify your expenses in the best way. Okay. You have to keep track of some information again. For example, you have to indicate the name of the person who is traveling, the dates, the place, the purpose of the meeting or the event, and you have to keep some supporting documentation. Not only your flight tickets or your train tickets and the hotel or accommodation details, but also photographs, any documentation that you can keep. It's always better. Okay, good. So if we go to equipment, infrastructure, or any other assets in the same set, purchases of equipment used for the action must be declared as depreciation costs. They have to be calculated in accordance with the partners' accounting practices and international accounting standards. So this is very easy for the finance context. So sometimes if we are not from finance, this is difficult, but they understand what we are saying. Okay, so costs for renting and leasing are also eligible if they don't exceed the depreciation cost of similar equipment, infrastructure, assets. Okay. Low value assets can be also eligible in some cases. For example, if the full cost is recorded as expense in a given year, if the purchase value is below the value as defined under national law, or if the item is used exclusively for the action in the year of purchase. Okay, so costs of other goods and services. So what are other goods and services? So by definition, these are supporting services, horizontal services, not the direct implementation of the action. There is a distinction between subcontracting costs and the cost of other goods and services. So these are supporting. It's not that it doesn't have a core role with the implementation of the activity and the tasks that are involved. For example, lab consumables, meeting organizations, catering, translation. If you're planning to have some other goods and services in your budget, put that in your budget before, so it is on the business plan. And of course, we follow the best value for money principle. I mean, if you go to an audit, you have to go there very prepared, and this is key, best value for money principle. Do we have any questions, Aimee?
No, nothing.
Okay, so in-kind contributions. Okay, so you can go through this slide later on. I mean, it's a specific topic, so I'm not going to spend much time on that. So if we go to typical mistakes, so the first point that you see there is best value for money. So there is no best value for money policy or let's say guideline follow. Costs are not foreseen in the budget or unexplained in the business plan. So that's why it's better to have the cost in that budget. Another point is that there is no tracking of those costs. There's no measurement of those costs. Another point is deductible VAT, and in general supporting documentation. So if you follow, if you track your costs, if you follow best value for money, and if you explain the costs in the budget and they are approved, you have much work done. Good. Okay, so this is a detail. I'm not going to enter there. Okay, so certificate on financial statements. So this is the CFS. So some partners receive an EIT contribution that is 430,000 euros or more. And these partners have to go through a specific audit, okay? So this is a specific detail. We don't have to spend much time there. And finally, I would like to mention that if you are a partner and you don't operate in euros, you will have to change that currency to euros. And there is a specific procedure for that. And we offered this link. I mean, it's online, so you can use that website to calculate the exchange rate. You will have to use to calculate the average the days of the report, of the reporting period. Okay,